Hello, hopefully this is working. Let me see. Yeah, it looks good. I think we're on. So, welcome to anybody who is tuning in. Yeah, we're gonna spin the wheel on CR season 5 for the CR5 League. Yeah, so this is looking like it's going to be a pretty good one. Yeah, you guys have all selected the monsters that you want to see. So yeah, now I'll just hang on for a minute or two and just wait and see who turns up. And then we will get underway. Who have we got? There we go. So obviously not too accustomed to doing these live streams, but it's yeah, interesting setup. But we're there, and I think we're on. So yeah, if anybody fancies popping in and joining, that would be great to see you. But yeah, other than that, we'll like I say, give it a few minutes and then we'll start spinning. And again, if anybody fancies joining, that's great. If not, then yeah, you know, also fine. I know that you guys are more accustomed to seeing my structured videos. Also, I'm much more accustomed to making my structured videos. So live could be interesting for me. But yeah, anyway, just going to give it a couple of minutes and just see what happens. And then I think I'm going to kick off the spin wheel in about 5 minutes. So this could very much be a session of me sat here talking to myself for about 5 minutes, which will be fine too. But yeah, all fun and games, isn't it? But yeah, hey, I can see there are some people joining. So if you're joining, drop something down in the chat just so that I know you guys are there. And then we can get into this. I think we're on a little bit of a delay as well on the chat, especially for me watching. But yeah, very excited to get into the 5th season of Dungeons and Death Battles again. Thank you all very much for watching up to this point. And again, hopefully, we're going to keep these going for many, many more seasons. Yeah, a few more minutes while we just hang on. Again, thank you again for anybody who's out there watching. Again, drop something down in the chat so that I know you're there. I'm assuming everything's working fine. Somebody would probably tell me if it wasn't, so that would be great. And again, I can't imagine that this is going to be the most exciting stream in the world, but then some of you might be really excited to watch this spin wheel and see which creatures go up against each other. And so yeah, you guys have voted, so thank you very much for that. And we currently have joining the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker, the winner of last time. We have the Brontosaurus, the Shambling Mound, Swarm of Cranium Rats, Triceratops, the Young Crystal Dragon, oh, joined by the cat here, there we go, the Barb Devil, the Flesh Golem, Vampire Spawn, Beholder Zombie, Hill Giant, Night Hag, Fire Elemental, Barlgura, Boulay, and Half Dragon. So we've got a pretty solid roster of creatures here. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm just going to get the wheel spinning in a minute again. Hello to everybody that's watching. Hey, there we go. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good stuff. I don't know why I'm trying to type in the chat. You can hear me speak. So I can say hello right now. Nice to have you. Again, just running through the creatures that we've got on the roster today. Again, all voted for by you guys over on Patreon. So yeah, good shout there to yeah, Boschman. How you doing? Ooh, okay. 2-day session of DMing Strahd. How'd you find it? Are you playing it pretty hardcore? Pretty, you know, down the line? I know I've played a little bit of Strahd before, and it was very tricky, shall we say. Hope you're enjoying it. yeah, yeah, like you say, a couple of Strahd monsters here. So yeah, obviously you've got the vampire spawn and the night hag. Yeah, both pretty brutal. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how those creatures do. Again, some pretty powerful creatures here. I don't know, does the flesh golem ever come up in Strahd? That seems like a pretty Strahdy monster. I think we got reasonably far into it. Won't say any spoilers just in case somebody out there is watching and is planning on playing. That is exactly what our DM said as well, because I was a player for that game. But yeah, he said exactly the same thing. But yeah, the tone and the atmosphere was just really, really awesome. Again, I just really like how dark and gritty and down to earth it is. Yeah, there you go. But excellent atmosphere and characters. Yeah, absolutely. I think they've done a really good job of characterizing the characters, I guess. Giving them a bit of personality. And yeah, a good DM really brings that through. Yeah, of course there's a flesh golem. Yeah, we're quite Strahd heavy, quite horror heavy. So that's going to be good. I know that a lot of the Strahd monsters are just brutal. I mean, we saw that with the werewolf. I think that was season 3? Season 3 had the werewolf, which in Strahd is pretty damn hard to kill. But yeah. Right, going to give this a couple more minutes. And then I think we're going to get started with the spinning of the wheel. But yeah, appreciate you guys that are out here. My players do make a big joke out of the game from time to time. Of course, they never stop looking for jokes to balance it. I think that's the human reaction to dangerous situations. It's just trying to find a joke in and amongst the gloominess. I'm pretty sure we probably did exactly the same thing, which I can imagine probably wound the DM up, although I'm sure he found it fine. But yeah, cool. How many monsters are passing? 4. In what sense? So in this, we're gonna spin the wheel and we're gonna pair each creature off against each other. So these are the creatures that were selected. So I'm gonna spin the wheel, and then we're gonna see which creatures are going in against each other in the qualifying rounds. So again, yes, it will be 4, wouldn't it? So 2, yes, it would be, because that would leave a semi-final and then a final. Yeah, sorry, just going through things in my head there. So we'll start with 16, and then it'll get whittled down, and then whittled down again. Standard rules, basically. Yeah. So this is the matchups here. I think I was confusing myself a minute ago, but yeah, this is the matchups. So we've got our 16 creatures here. They were all selected. They were picked by everybody over on Patreon. So we went over there, we did all the votes. I think there was nearly 80 monsters, I think, total, to pick from. And so, yeah, this is the 15 plus the Yuan-Ti Night Speaker, which was the winner of last round, which automatically goes through. So, yeah, 15 of these guys, Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker. We're going to spin the wheel, we're going to pair them off, and we're going to find out what the running order is for CR5. But yeah, I think we can get into it. So, without further ado, everybody else can catch up later on. Thank you very much to those of you who are here watching live. Exciting stuff. So, I think we're going to get into it. I'm going to get that first spin going. I think you guys can see that there on the screen okay. So let's pop it. Just going to check first. You guys can all see the wheel, right? Just make sure I've got the right screen on. Just wait till somebody answers that in the chat. I think there's a minute delay or so. So I might just be staring at the camera for a minute or two while I wait for the signal. Hoping Boschman's going to come through with something in the chat in a minute. Just got my eye on it down in the corner. I look like I'm eyeballing away from the camera. Ah! Blackfire. Hi, Blackfire. And yes, perfect. Excellent. Right, let's go for it then. Let's get spinning. So, first up, let's get that wheel going. Who are we going to get first? Oh, and that is going to be one that we've just been talking about. That is the Flesh Golem. So we are going to take that one through. I'm going to hide him here. And then we're going to bring that one through. So the Flesh Golem will be going first in the qualifying rounds. But what will it be fighting? So we spin that wheel for a second time. The Flesh Golem will be going up against the champion of the CR4 League. The Flesh Golem is getting the 1T Nightmare Speaker. No rest for the wicked. The 1T is getting thrown straight in with another combat, just to see if it can maintain its hold on victory runs. So, that is a pretty good starting round, actually. I like that one. Just going to drop over here and add that to the list. So we have got Flesh Golem taking on the 1T Nightmare Speaker in the first round. That is going to be a good one. So again, we'll hide the 1T Nightmare Speaker. So moving on to round 2. That is a pretty solid first round. What are we going to get next? Round 2, as the wheel spins away. Let's see what we get. Coming in with the Beholder Zombie by the looks of it. Let's see if the wheel stops there. And it is the Beholder Zombie. This is a pretty brutal creature. The Spectator was one thing. The Beholder Zombie is another kettle of fish entirely here. That is going to be a pretty tough combatant to face off against. And who is going to have the privilege of taking on the Beholder Zombie? Well, hide that choice. And we will spin again. Let's see. The Beholder Zombie will be taking on one of these creatures. And it looks like it's getting pretty strady in here already, with the Beholder Zombie taking on the Night Hag in the second qualifying round. That is going to be a very decent fight. That is pretty dark as well. Both very malevolent monsters. So we seem to have some pretty brutal combats straight out of the gate here. So I'm going to fire that over onto the board as well. Again, just on the other screen, I've got something that I'm just keeping track of all of this. So that will be Night Hag taking on the Beholder Zombie. Wherever that is on the list, there it is. Good stuff. Yeah, I know, the Night Hag is insane. I'm genuinely curious as to whether or not they power them down a little bit for non-Strahd. But I don't think it's even a different stat block, is it? Although maybe it is now with the 2024 edition. I don't know if you're playing 2024 Boschman. But yeah, no, the Night Hag is very, very powerful. So yeah, we will see how that all goes. So we hide that choice there. We're going to spin again. So qualifying round number 3. Spin that wheel. We've already got 2 pretty exciting combats to go. And there we have our first Demon Devil Balgura. Excellent. So it's kind of like a gorilla demon. Sorry, I don't know if you can see the cat here. It's just jumped down. There we go. Very cool. So Balgura is going to be taking on. We hide that choice. Spinning the wheel again. Demonic gorilla monster will be going toe-to-toe with the half dragon. Again, another really cool combat there, actually. These 2 monsters are pretty well matched. And so this one's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a bit brawly, a bit fiery. Be my prediction for this one in particular. And so, once again, I'm just going to add that to the list. Just going to hope that my cat doesn't turn the camera off or the microphone right here. I don't know if you can see her moving about. Right, there we go. So we have Half Dragon taking on Balgura. So there he is. Taking on the Half Dragon. Wonderful. Once again, we'll hide that one. As we spin again. You guys got to let me know what you're thinking of the roster so far. I'm pretty keen for it. I do enjoy running these combats, especially when they're as well matched as that last one's going to be. We're coming in for the 4th qualifying round. We have our very first Swarm. I do feel like this is going to be one of the more interesting combats. Especially with the old, Swarm of Cranium Rats. These guys are pretty potent, from what I'm aware. I've not run them in anything before, but I'm excited to see how they get on. Just gonna drop over to the chat quick. So we're using the 5e Nightmare, Haunting Night Hag, and I'd say it's CR6. Giving it my vote for the tourney. My bets always fail, don't worry. well, you never know. Again, it's a very, very powerful monster. And yeah, I would probably say it's more in the CR6 tier as well. But then again, you probably could have said that about the Iwanti Nightmare Speaker being in CR4. Ridiculously tough. A cranium rat is a rat with a big old brain on it that has been converted by mind flayers, I believe. And there's a swarm of them, so there's quite a lot. They're going to be pretty potent, I think, and they're very psychic-y. So they're gonna kick some ass, I think. Oh, they're very brainy rats, but they probably would eat your brain as well. Best of both worlds. Yes, 2024 monsters for everything, unless it does not have a 2024 stat block. In which case, I know there's been some Monsters of the Multiverse creatures in some of these fights, but I think the vast majority of them are 2024 monsters, especially in this tier. So, let's hide those cranium rats. Despicable beasts. They're going to do quite well, I would imagine. What are we going to fight them against? This would be funny if this was the Brontosaurus. This really would be the small versus the giant. Sometimes you just predict these things and it's hilarious. Okay, so we have the Brontosaurus, which is, I'm fairly certain it's colossal, perhaps. Maybe the size down from that. It's bloody massive. That is going to be taking on the smallest of our competitors in the arena, the Cranium Rats, in some twist of fate. That is brilliant. I'm really enjoying the visual for this one. This is going to be a very elephant versus mouse situation. So it's going to be a funny one. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. Right, let me add them to the list. Pop over there quick. So we have round 4 Brontosaurus taking on none other than the swarm of cranium rats. Gotta love the spin of the wheel sometimes. It delivers. As we move on once again, hide the old Bronto. I don't know if you can see the cat that's just jumped up on the shelf behind me. Popping up there. But yeah. Spinning again. Round number 5. Qualifier number 5. Let's see what we get paired off against one another. And we will be kicking off with some more stradiness with the vampire spawn right there. So again, a very, very powerful monster. Some really, really tough attacks. Some good resilience on this one. Let's see what we pair him off against. Hide the old vampire spawn. Give that wheel a spin. As we roll it through. Let's see what he's going up against. Ooh! I feel like that is possibly a very lucky escape there for the vampire spawn. Just missing out on the fire elemental and instead taking on the hill giant. Again, still going to be a very difficult fight. The second largest creature in this combat, I believe. Hill giant is going to, well, it's going to cause some trouble. Again, vampire spawn though, probably more than capable of taking it on. So let's jump across once more. Again, just filling out the sheet as I go, so I don't lose track of all of this. And so that is going to be, where are we? Vampire spawn number 5, taking on that hill giant. Also number 5. As we have a couple more monsters left to go. Hide that choice there again. So we're going to spin through once again. Find number 6. Check the chat again. See what's going on. It's pretty chilling over there. Again, thank you once again very much for watching, everybody who's here. For checking out this spin wheel. As it drops upon the Barbed Devil. Again, I've been looking forward to running this one. Again, it's a pretty punchy monster, a lot of abilities, and it's going to be a bit of a tricky devil to take down, shall we say. So again, we'll hide that one there. Still got the Fire Elemental, Young Crystal Dragon, Triceratops, Shambling Mound, and Boule left. So let's see what the Barbed Devil is going to get to go up against in the arena. We come into the 6th round. And that is going to be the Fire Elemental. Again, one of the more potent creatures on this list. It just emanates an aura of flame, which is pretty tough to begin with. Again, not sure if the Barbed Devil, being a devil, has resistance to that. Could be a pretty good matchup for it to start with. But it's going to be a tricky monster to fight both of them. Fire Elemental, possibly even more so, just due to its very nature. It deals damage just being near things. And in the arena, that is going to be tough to deal with. So let's add that one onto the list. Right there, so we have Barbed Devil taking on the Fire Elemental. for the 6th qualifying round. So we hide him there. And we are left with 4 combatants. We have the Boule, the Young Crystal Dragon, the Triceratops, and the Shambling Mound. They remain on the board. So this is going to be the last couple of spins in which we will determine which of these monsters is going to be facing off against the next. And so, giving it the spin there, we really are narrowing them down here. Let's see what we've got as we spin that wheel. And it looks to be landing on the Triceratops right here. Another prehistoric contender, which will be battling alongside the Brontosaurus here, representing prehistory. And again, we know that the Stegosaurus did incredibly well in the CR4 League. So we'll wait to see if one of the dinosaurs can one-up its performance, take a win here in the CR5 League. I know a lot of people were rooting for the Stegosaurus last time, and it came so close, but so far against the wrath of the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker. So we can hide the Triceratops there as he enters the 7th round, 7th qualifier. And so this is the decider, really. Which monster will be fighting the Triceratops? And which 2 will be left remaining to battle against each other? Let's spin in that wheel there. The Triceratops, our 3-horned hero. What is it going to be taking on? And it could be the Young Crystal Dragon. The dragon will be taking on the dinosaur in a battle of the reptilian monsters. That is a good one. I seem to remember watching a TV show back in the day where they pitted dinosaurs versus dragons, so this could very much be a redo of that. I think the dragon won in the TV show, so let's see if that's going to be any different in the arena. As we add the Triceratops onto the board. Where is he there? Triceratops in 7, with the Young Crystal Dragon also 7 there. So we hide the choice. And that means that last but not least, we will be seeing the Shambling Mound take on the Boule. And so, just for the sake of this, I like spinning the wheel. Hopefully you like seeing the wheel spin. So I'm just going to keep spinning it until we have nothing left. And the Boule is going to come in first there. That won't affect too much apart from positioning on the old table itself. And so we have the Boule in as 8th position. Versus, of course, the Shambling Mound. These 2 creatures looking to go toe-to-toe in our final qualifying round. And that is quite a satisfying finish there. I think we've got some very, very cool combats to see. We declare that as done. And so, yeah, there we have it. We have our board. We have our mock-up board. Excellent. So once again, thank you all very much for joining me here as we spin the old wheel of fate. Who else have we got joining here? Oh God, I've lost the old board there. There we go. Winner says hello, welcome. I know we've just done all the spinning of the wheel, so you might want to track back a little bit to watch it in full. If that's what you want to do. But great to have you here. But yeah, just in time for the recap. So I'm just going to drop a filter on these quick. So name and number. Good old sheets. Just make sure that we get those in the right order. And make sure I actually do this right. That would be a good start, wouldn't it? And so, it does look like our order will be as follows. So we have the Flesh Golem taking on the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker in round 1, which will be followed up by round 2, in which we will have the Night Hag taking on the Beholder Zombie. And then into round 3, Balgura versus Balgura versus Half Dragon for round 3. And we have round 4, which will be probably the most hilarious combat we've done yet, which will be the swarm of cranium rats, the smallest combatant on our list, taking on the biggest by far, which is the Brontosaurus. And so swarm of cranium rats versus Brontosaurus qualifying round 4, which will then be followed on by the Hill Giant, which will be taking on so Hill Giant versus Vampire Spawn round 5, Barbed Devil versus Fire Elemental in round 6, and then again Triceratops versus Young Crystal Dragon in the 7th qualifying round. And last but not least, the Shambling Mound will be taking on the Boule. So we have a real cool roster of monsters here. Really looking forward to running this one. This is going to be a really fun season, I think. And yes, indeed, Boschman, next week will indeed be the first battle. So I think I'm going to aim to do it on Saturday. And then we're going to be rolling on as normal. So same schedule then with weekly combats. And again, we will see which of these monsters is going to take the win in this season. So yeah, looking forward to it. Anyone in the chat, what do you think is going to happen based on those matchups? Again, I'm gonna run these into a board at some point, and then we can see the matchups a little bit more clearly. And I think what I'm going to do this season, I'm going to declare a poll immediately over on Patreon after this stream, where you guys can vote to see which one of the monsters you think is going to take this through the entire season. And I might prepare something a little special at the end for anybody who manages to get that right and secure a win after a selection from day one. And we'll of course continue on with the normal voting where we do it that part on YouTube. But the reason I use Patreon for these bigger votes is basically because YouTube limits you to 4 choices on most things, which is tiny when you've got 20, well, I think it's 25 per sheet on Patreon for votes. And so, yeah, when you've got 65, 70 monsters to choose from, it's just not doable on YouTube. And even here, where we've got 16 monsters, it's just far better to host that over on Patreon. Again, I keep it free for that reason. I basically just use it as a voting platform. So yeah, check that out over on there. Yeah, should be a good time. But yeah, excellent. I am going to hang around for a little bit while I just continue to sort some bits and pieces out. So let's see if this transitions back across. So that should make me the big screen now, so that's fun. We'll see if that works. Which I think it should do. Hopefully it does. No worries if it doesn't. But yeah, once again, thank you all very much for watching. Yeah, there we go. Let's all pop back around there. So I'll leave that up. But yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty short live stream. Again, the purpose of this was solely to spin the wheel, find the monsters that we were going to be pitching against each other. So again, I don't think it needed to carry on for too long. But I might run it for a little bit longer, just while we're shooting it a little bit here. I personally am very excited for round 4, in which the cranium rats will be attempting to overrun the Brontosaurus. The visual in my head for this is just something special. Really enjoying that one. And then I think the other one, the first combat, is also going to be very interesting, in which, of course, the 1T Nightmare Speaker will be jumping immediately back into the fray, where it will be taking on the Flesh Golem. Again, Flesh Golem is a very powerful monster. So again, let's see if we can actually pop the stat block up here, because that would be quite fun, wouldn't it? Again, I'm a bit of a stranger to running live streams, so bear with me. I think I should just be able to add a new window here, and then do that to probably D&D Beyond. I'll go off of that and just see if that works. That'll be create new, select the window to capture, D&D Beyond. There we go. Would you look at that? I think that will do the trick nicely, won't it? There we are. Dismiss that. I think I should be able to show you guys that now. I'm going to move this across maybe a little bit. Okie dokie. To anyone that's interested, obviously, if you want to stick around for this, be my guest. Just double checking that everything's in the window. I think it is. Yeah, that'll do. And then if I drop that below this. Right, let's try that then. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to try and transition across. And hope that that does something. Might be coming through right here. Again, thank you all very much for watching. Guys have seen the spin wheel. See if anybody else wants to jump in. No worries if not, of course. We're just going to have a quick overview of all the monsters that we've got. Yeah, there we go. And so, Flesh Golem. Load up that one. Pop him up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Flesh Golem is a pretty tough monster. Again, the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker is pretty brutal itself, but it is going to have a difficult time against this creature. I mean, an AC of 9 isn't great. 127 average hit points is, again, pretty good. We're jumping up into CR5 now, so we're going to be looking at a big increase in average hit point values. Again, some pretty solid stats. Again, it's not the greatest in its mental capabilities, but strength and con, pretty good. Immunities, however, to lightning, poison, damage, and of course the charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, and poison conditions, which is going to be pretty potent. And aversion for fire means that this thing isn't going to have fun if it enters the arena against the fire elemental. But whether or not that happens or not, that remains to be seen. And then yeah, just some pretty potent abilities other than that. And I think that yeah, the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker is going to have a difficult time against the Flesh Golem, although it does have a 120-foot range weapon, as we all are well aware, and is pretty potent with its magic. Again, the Flesh Golem does have magic resistance, although that has not stopped the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker before. So yeah, we are going to be getting into that with the first battle. So that will be Flesh Golem taking on the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker. Yeah, so really looking forward to that one. And I think this is probably a pretty good place to drop out for the evening as I get underway with the very first season. So, to those of you who just want a very quick overview, oh, Totally Tony is in the building. Happy bank holiday. Happy bank holiday, Tony. Good to hear from you. I hope you're keeping well. And we will, we'll talk again next week. So that'll be good. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be on for too much longer. Just done a quick overview of everything that's going on. Again, I'm not too familiar with doing these live streams. But I think this has gone fine. So yeah, anyway, quick recap then. So I jump back over to the sheet. So round one, as we've just discussed, is going to be the Flesh Golem. You can see on the screen right there, which will be taking on the winner of the CR4 League, the Yuan-Ti Nightmare Speaker, which will then be followed on shortly after for round two, which will see the Night Hag taking on. Oh, where is the other two here? Hopefully, I've not. Oh, this is a good thing. This is why I make these lists, just to make sure that everything is in the right place. Perfect. Yep. So round two will be the Night Hag, which will be taking on the Beholder Zombie. Pretty spooky second round right there. Followed on by the Balgura, which will be taking on the Half Dragon. Again, a very rounded combat there. Lots of fists are going to be flying during that one. Pretty keen to see that. My favourite round, which will be the Brontosaurus taking on the Swarm of Cranium Rats, which is just going to be visually hilarious. So we like that one. Round 5, Hill Giant, which is going to be going toe-to-toe with the Vampire Spawn. Again, another pretty spooky combat there, which will be followed on by the Barbed Devil taking on the Fire Elemental. Round 7, the Triceratops versus the Young Crystal Dragon in a primordial duel to the death, followed by the very final qualifying round, which will be the Shambling Mound taking on probably one of my favourite Dungeons & Dragons monsters ever, the Boule. Of course, no favouritism in the arena. Whichever monster walks out victorious will have been decided upon by the dice. So once again, there is your very quick recap. Thank you all once again very much for watching, and I will see you guys in another video very soon with the CR5 season kicking off on the coming Saturday. So thank you once again, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.